Well, hello there. It looks a bit off to me. I don't know why. Well, as you can see from the title of this video, it's going to be very interesting. First of all, we have a general election coming up in this country and across the wider United Kingdom. My American viewers know that's not the same thing, and my country is England. Wish my camera would stop turning on the corner when I'm already live. I don't even know whether I was live during that whole piece of information, but it doesn't really matter. So there's a general election coming up, and indeed local elections in your areas. And many of you might be wondering who to vote for. Well, in order to help with this, we've been getting all the usual propaganda style leaflets that the various different political parties put out. I have a couple of them here. And then we'll move on to the second topic. So first of all, for those of you asking yourselves, should I vote in this election? Well, yes, you should. Every vote counts. Now, of course, the second question then is, who do I vote for? But I have two options here that have been sent out to me put from my door at different times, which is interesting. First one here is from the Green Party. It says, the Conservatives are going to lose. Will Labour bring change? Not much. Vote Green, for real hope and real change. Now, a couple of things to unpick there. First of all, they're absolutely right at the top. The Conservatives are going to lose. The Conservatives have become a lot less conservative over the last, 8 years, maybe. Definitely in the last 4 years, they seem to have gone more liberal. They seem almost as bad as Labour, and in some cases almost as bad as the Lib Dems. Will Labour bring change? Not much. Well, actually, they might, but not changes that we want. They will actually be worse than the Conservatives. Believe it or not, people of England and the Greater UK, Labour will actually be worse than the Conservatives currently are, even though the Conservatives are currently under the leadership of one Rishi Sunak. Labour's under the leadership of one Keir Starmer. Suppose with the two of those, it's the lesser of two evils, depending on who you think is the lesser of two evils. So vote Green for real hope and real change. Well, I'm not sure about that, because here at the bottom is some of the things that they want to do if they get into power. Now, while some of these are good things, they're not exactly the things that the people of England and the Greater UK actually are concentrating on, and we'll come back to that with the next one I've got. But the Green Party to defend the NHS and push for proper funding to bring down waiting times and ensure everybody could see a GP and dentist. Okay, I'd like to know you're going to do it dentists, or that many NHS dentists. Most of them are private these days. They want to make affordable homes for everyone in the right place. I'm not entirely sure what that means. So that means that you don't have to move halfway across the country to find somewhere to live. They want to back an immediate ceasefire in Israel and Gaza. Bit pointless doing that, since Israel have nearly won, it seems. They want to protect our seas and rivers from sewage dumping by bringing water companies back into public hands. Now, this could be a good idea, actually. And they want to defend nature, and urgently tackle the climate emergency. Well, that's not really an issue, because we cannot in any way stop the climate emergency. If there's going to be global warming, there's going to be global warming, and there's nothing you or me can do about it. And making less emissions isn't really going to fix the problem. Plus, if you really want to back nature and sort out the climate emergency, what you should do is invest in me. Now, my Kickstarter that I set up a while back has actually not been allowed because I do not have a prototype to send to my donators. That's because I haven't built it yet. The money was for building it. So anyone who wants to donate to me, I'll set up a PayPal account or something. Maybe the Green Party can donate a large amount of money to me so I can help them with their climate emergency. Now, the Green Party has some good ideas there, but that's not really what the people of this country and the greater UK is concentrating on at the moment. The second leaflet I have here, it comes from the company of one Richard Tice and Nigel Farage. A couple of people in England and the greater UK should know those two names, and therefore they know exactly what political party I'm talking about. It's the logo for this video, for fuck's sake. It is the Reform Party, which was started many years ago as the Brexit Party. Their 4 key points on their leaflet here for wanting your vote in the election is they want to A, stop the boats, B, cut down on waiting lists for doctors, which is also what the Green Party wants to do. 3, sorry, C, it was A good, A, B as C, wasn't it? Yeah. C, make work pay, which basically means lower taxes. And D, freeze immigration. That being not important immigration. So 3 of these points are explained on the back of this. It says freeze non-essential immigration. Smart immigration rules will target those with the essential skills that we need, such as doctors. This is what was done a few years back, but has been forgotten and totally just got rid of. We only were bringing in skilled workers and that sort of thing. People who could actually help within our society, have skills that can, that bring something to the table, since they want to come and live in our country and enjoy all the benefits of doing so. They want to stop the boats and leave the ECHR. Now, these two go hand in hand. Because to stop the boats, that means to either turn them back and send them back where they came from, or possibly sink them or something like that, rather than picking up the immigrants and bringing them the rest of the way. These are illegal immigrants, by the way, which you're not even allowed to call them these days. They're undocumented migrants. They are illegal immigrants. Just call them what they are. Call a spade a spade. And they want to leave the ECHR because the ECHR, at the moment, is basically deciding that anyone within the ECHR's ruling has to take their fair share of these immigrants, whether legally or illegally. So we won't be able to stop the boats unless we leave the ECHR. Now, also, leaving the ECHR can also be a bad thing. It means if you're ever treated badly by the justice system and want to take that to the ECHR, well, no, you can't. So there's pros and cons to leaving the ECHR, but the pros outweigh the cons. And one of the pros is we get to stop these bloody boats and stop all these illegal immigrants coming over. They also want to stop the illegal working scandal, which basically stops people who come over to this country illegally from then obtaining a job illegally and stopping companies from employing these people illegally. So that's the Reform Party. So for those of you out there who are asking the question I asked at the beginning, who should I vote for? Well, you have to ask yourself more questions first. Do you have a problem with anything that these political parties have a problem with? Do you think there's too much illegal immigration in this country? Do you think doctors and other NHS waiting lists are too long? Are you sick of pro-Hamas and therefore pro-terrorism marches on our streets on Saturday afternoons? If so, I say vote for 2 particular political parties depending on who is available in your area to vote for. And that is A, Reform, obviously, and B, UKIP. Both of which want to do things that a lot of the members of the general public at the moment really would like the government to do. The Green Party, you'd get more votes if you actually wanted to stop the votes and tackle illegal immigration and things. maybe you'd get more votes then. So really, I would say vote UKIP and Reform, depending on who the representative is in your local area. If you don't have a Reform Party candidate, vote UKIP. And of course, in the general election, when you're electing our Prime Minister, who's going to be in charge of our country, which political party is going to be leading our country for the next however many years it's going to be, I say definitely vote Reform or UKIP. Probably Reform more than UKIP, because obviously Nigel Farage, leader of leader of Reform rather, uh, actually wants to do something else. And that's the other thing that a lot of British taxpayers and a lot of British people across England, Great Britain, and the wider UK also like the idea of, because Nigel Farage and the Reform Party wants to scrap the TV licence. Yeah, they just want to scrap it. Anyone who watches Chili John Carney right here on YouTube, he recently put up a video about it. Nigel Farage has said that if the Reform Party becomes the government and essentially Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, not only will he do all these things that he wants to do that will help us a lot in this country, but he also wants to scrap the TV license. And I think this is a good idea because the TV license is pointless. Because you're being forced. Well, you're not being forced, you're being scared into and harassed into paying for something that you don't really want or need. Because they make you feel, or rather they make you think, that you need it because of the clever wording or clever miswording of their letters and their website. They make you think that you need a TV license when you possibly don't. So that you're then scared into buying one when you don't need it for fear of prosecution. Now, Chilla John Carney has also talked about this a lot. A lot of his videos about the TV license. And maybe, John, if that really is your name, I'm guessing your name's John, if you're Chili John Carney. Good name, by the way. Although, really, you should have called yourself Carney John Chili, because that's the real food and not the cheap American substitute. Along those lines, John, I've received a letter from TV licensing people. Yeah. John, you've done a lot of these letters. Yeah, you notice that I cut out some of the details there and wrote in some of my own. The address is fuck the BBC, and my reference number is obviously 666. But yeah, I received one of these letters from the TV license. It came in one of them envelopes where it clearly shows that it says official notice, investigation started. I don't know how to put this on the screen like you do, so I'll just read through it. Sorry, investigation open. Which is funny because they've been investigating me for well over a year now, nearly 2 years, and they still don't know who I am and that I live here. The letters are still addressed to the legal occupier. I think that's funny, and they should know who I am. Unless they assume I've moved. Dear legal occupier, this is an official warning that we are carrying out an investigation of your address. We have asked you to contact us several times, but you have not responded. There is still no record of a TV license at this property. The law. It is a criminal offence to watch or record live TV without a license on any device. This includes all TV channels, pay TV services like Sky, and live TV on streaming services like Amazon Prime Video. You also need a TV license to be recorded for a film BBC iPlayer. This is actually not true. And thanks to a little bit of information from Black Belt Barrister right here on YouTube, and a little bit of my own digging, this is not actually correct. It is a criminal offence to watch or record live TV without a license. That is correct. On any device. That is also correct. So, they started out well by actually saying something that is correct. It's what we call the lie sandwich. You say something that's correct, then you say something that's a lie, and then you say something that's correct again. So there's the correct part. Then we get the blatant lie. This includes all TV channels, KTV services, okay, it does include all TV channels, I suppose, right? It doesn't include all pay TV services like Sky. I mean, it does include Sky, but it doesn't include all pay TV services like Sky, because you can watch Netflix without needing a TV license. It probably is required to watch live TV on streaming services. Maybe, I don't know. Suppose if it's live, yeah. And it says you also need a TV license to be covered for everything on BBC iPlayer. This is also not true. You need a license to watch BBC content on BBC iPlayer, but there is other content available on BBC iPlayer that you do not need a license for if you watch it. Of course, then we've got the how you can stop this investigation, which is the next true part, I suppose. I can buy a TV license. I could buy a TV. I could stop this investigation by simply buying a TV license. Fuck off. If I've recently moved, please move your old TV license to your new address. Okay. Or let us know that you don't use TV receiving equipment at this address. Now, that is an interesting statement there. Let us know that you don't use TV receiving equipment at this address. Now, what are you defining as TV receiving equipment? And using that equipment. Because I use TV receiving equipment. Because I use my television. I just don't use it to watch TV. I use it to watch DVDs. I use it to play my Xbox and various other games consoles. I use it to watch videos. I mean, VHS tapes. I have some VHS tapes still. In fact, they're getting a bit old now, and I should probably replace them with DVDs or something. But I use my TV receiving equipment for anything other than receiving TV. But that's not what this says. This says, let us know that you don't use TV receiving equipment. Why should I tell you whether I use my TV receiving equipment? What you mean is, tell us that you don't use your TV receiving equipment to actually receive TV. So your wording there is, a scare tactic. That's to make people think, oh, I've got a TV. Oh, fuck, I need a license. Even if I'm not watching TV. No, you don't need a license. If you're not watching TV, broadcast TV as it's broadcast on your TV or on any other device, you don't need a license. If you have a TV and you use it for any other purposes than watching broadcast TV, you don't need a license. So that wording is a little ambiguous. If we don't hear from you, our enforcement team will schedule a visit our enforcement team. Now, a lot of people have already pointed this out, but I'll point it out for anyone who doesn't know. Their enforcement team is a door-to-door salesman. It's like the ones that used to go around back in the day trying to sell you Tupperware and things like that. Like an Avon representative. Or even if you want to go even further back, the ones that used to go door-to-door trying to sell you Hoovers. Some of my older viewers, if I have some older viewers, might remember those days. Or maybe even your milkman. Now that is going back some years, although there are some places where you can still get milk delivered to your house via milkman, which is very interesting. So if we don't hear from your enforcement team and schedule a visit, you could be prosecuted if we find you've been watching, recording, or downloading TV programs illegally. See, that's an interesting one as well, right? Watching or recording them illegally, okay, yes, you can prosecute me for that. Right? You can give me a fine or whatever. Downloading TV programs illegally. There are various websites on the internet, both legal and illegal, where you can watch and download TV programs, especially old TV programs. Um, Now, some of those websites, as I say, are illegal, but some of them are perfectly legal. They are legitimate websites that are allowed to host this content. If I want to watch or download that content, that has nothing to do with you, and you cannot do anything about it, and it is not illegal. So check your wording in your letters here to licensing. I know you send these out as like just a generic letter, like this is probably one of your office templates. Dear legal occupier, you just change the address and postcode, and you just send it out, right? But you might want to change your wording there because some of this is not actually quite right, and I'm sure people like Chili John Carney and Black Belt Barrister and a couple of other people that talk about this stuff a lot probably can tell me that I'm correct there. I may have to pay a fine of up to £1,000 plus any legal costs and/or compensation. Compensation. Now, legal costs I could go with. You usually have to pay 10% off whatever your fine is. So if you're paying £1,000 fine, you'd have to actually pay £1,100, 1,100. Compensation. I don't think I'll have to pay compensation. Of course, as many people like Shirley John Carney and Black Belt Barrister have pointed out, the fine can be up to £1,000, but it's not very often the case. Usually, the fine you have to pay is actually less than the current TV licensing fee. The current TV licensing fee is 160 odd quid a year. The fine is usually slightly less than that. So you might as well not pay for your TV license and just pay the fine when you get it. Not that I recommend doing that, by the way. Yours faithfully, Scott Robson, Regional Manager for Enforcement. I'd like to know who this Scott Robson is. Did he really sign this, or is that a preprint, his signature that's put onto these fucking pieces of paper? P.S. If you recently bought a license, thank you. You do not need to apply for this letter. Well, Scott Robson, if you even still work for TV licensing, and whoever is in charge of putting these letters out, shut the fuck up, okay? Seriously. I don't have a TV license. I don't need a TV license. I don't want a TV license. And I don't want your letters. If anyone else in the country, no matter who it was, right, was repeatedly sending people basically threatening letters, that would be considered harassment. And that person would contact the police and have that person arrested and use the letters as evidence. So why do TV licensing think they can get away with it? This is harassment. I don't need a license. I don't need to tell you I don't need a license. I don't need these letters. And I have more than this one, by the way. This is just the latest one. I have more than this one. Over the course of the last nearly 2 years, I haven't been paying for the TVFB license because I don't need one. I've received a lot of these letters. Unfortunately, I missed the guy that came knocking on the door a few days back because he knocked very early in the morning and I was still in bed. And I wasn't going to get out of bed half naked and answer the door. Although that would be a pretty good way to get him to fuck off pretty quickly. Now, with regards to the TV license and the people I've previously mentioned who make videos about TV license, I want to ask you a question. In particular, Black Belt Barrister, because you're a barrister, you know more about the law than probably any of the rest of us, even me. I know quite a lot about the law. But I wanted to ask you this. I live in a private building on private property. I'm not like renting a house. I'm renting a flat in a block of flats which is owned by a company. The block of flats and the area around it is private property. Once you step off the public footpath, you are on private property. It's not simply private property because it's my place I'm renting. The whole area is private property. If a person from TV licensing steps on that property, and anyone within that property, or even the company that owns that property, tells them they are no longer allowed to do so, therefore I'm guessing that is trespassing if they don't leave or if they return. Now, with regards to trespassing, is it not still part of the law that if someone is trespassing on your property, you have a legal right to use reasonable force to eject that person from the property or subdue that person, and then, or either, get the law in? Can I use reasonable force to eject a TV licensing salesman from my property, subdue that TV licensing salesman on my property, or detain them long enough to have them arrested for trespassing on my property? That's what I want to know, Black Belt Barrister. Maybe you can tell me. Because if I can, I'm going to have a lot of fun when they do turn up at my door again, which they will, because of course an investigation has been opened, which means I will expect a visit from another one of their enforcement officers, salesmen, again soon. And maybe, just maybe, I might be awake to answer the door. And I'd like the answer to that question before I answer the door. So I definitely think it's a good idea, for many reasons, in fact, to vote reform in your local and local elections and general election. Whether that's because you want to stop the votes and sort out the illegal immigration problem and so on and so forth, or whether you just want the TV license to be scrapped. These are all good reasons to be voting for reform. I registered to vote recently for the first time in over 15 years. Not to vote in my local election, for which I would be voting reform anyway, or UKIP if we think of a reform candidate, but so I can vote in the general election. And I'm going to be voting reform. And I urge every person out there that actually gives a shit about the countries of the UK to go out there and do the same. If you care about the safety and security of our country, the safety and security of the heritage of our country, the safety and security of the children and young people and women of our country, go vote reform. Because they really, really care about the same things we care about. Some of the other political parties, they claim they care about these things, they claim they're going to do this, they claim they want to do that, they claim they want to do this, and then they get into power and they go, fuck all that, ain't going to do it. Reform really actually do want to do this stuff, and they actually really do care about the people. And that's why the mainstream media don't like them. Because they're not afraid to say, actually, yes, we want to actually do this, and we are not going to change our minds. So everyone, if you haven't already, register to vote if you're old enough, which you only have a certain amount of time left to do. I think it's July 14th is the deadline. Register to vote and go out and vote reform or UKIP, depending on what representative you have in your area. And for the general election, vote reform. Stop the votes, leave the ECH alone, sort out hospital waiting lists and doctors' waiting lists, lower taxes, and scrap the TV license. I mean, that alone is going to guarantee them votes. We're going to scrap the TV license. That's going to get them hundreds of thousands of votes across the country. Because a lot of people are getting sick of this TV license. But all the other stuff they want to do as well is going to get them more votes. And every vote counts. So register to vote, go out and vote. And let's make some real change in our country. In our countries, even. Let's make the United Kingdom united again. And let's put the great back into Great Britain. Then we can start worrying about like climate change and stuff like that. But we need to sort our own country out first. Our own countries out first. And that's all I have to say. I should be voting reform when I call upon the Lord to do so. So thank you for watching this video, this live stream rather. So you to say thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching this live stream. Obviously, feel free to leave any comments you may have. Please respect each other's opinions, even if you don't agree with them. And I might put links to Chili John Carney and Black Belt Barrister in the description of the video. A couple of great guys, and they're worth listening to. So yeah, see you all later.